For 24-year-old Marco, every waking minute is a cycle of racing thoughts. It is a state of constant mental noise that keeps him awake at night and makes it nearly impossible to focus during the day. He is caught in a loop that many of us recognize. When his mind isn't fixed on specific regrets about the past, it is spiraling into anxieties about what might happen tomorrow. This internal friction takes a heavy toll. He feels perpetually drained, his energy consumed by a mind that won't settle, leaving him unable to experience even simple moments of calm. Marco is exhausted because his attention is scattered across every timeline except the one he is actually living in. He is the classic chronic overthinker. Marco decides that the only way to fix his internal state is to change his external environment. He seeks out a retired psychologist who lives in a remote mountain village, hoping his reputation for finding peace can help him. He travels for days into the hills, driven by the idea that putting physical distance between himself and his life will create a similar distance between himself and his thoughts. He eventually arrives at a small house covered in greenery. It is perfectly quiet, isolated from the noise of the city and surrounded by the stillness of nature. This journey highlights a common assumption that a quiet, empty environment will somehow result in a quiet, empty mind. When Marco asks for help, the old man doesn't offer a lecture or a meditation technique. He provides a physical challenge instead. He fills a glass of water until the surface tension barely holds it in place. He tells Marco to carry this glass to the edge of the village and back without spilling a single drop. The path the old man chooses isn't a quiet mountain trail. It is the narrow, crowded main street of the village. Marco has to balance the water while navigating a gauntlet of distractions. Shopkeepers are calling out to customers, dogs are barking, and children run across his path. This task seems entirely disconnected from Marco's problem. It's unclear how navigating a stressful, noisy environment could possibly lead to the peace he traveled so far to find. Eventually, Marco returns to the porch. Despite the chaos of the village, the glass is still full. He hasn't spilled a drop. The old man asks him about the walk. He asks if Marco noticed the children playing or the noise of the dogs. Marco realizes he saw none of it. His focus on the glass was so absolute that the rest of the world effectively disappeared. This chart visualizes cognitive bandwidth. Our attention is a finite resource, usually divided between memories of the past, the needs of the present, and worries about the future. When the demands of the task consume all available bandwidth, there is no remaining capacity for other thoughts. The past and the future are crowded out because the mind is fully occupied by the immediate moment. Marco reached the silence he was looking for by saturating his attention with the weight of the glass and the movement of the water. While he was focused on the water, Marco's anxiety and regret vanished. They couldn't coexist with the level of attention required by the task. Marco had been searching for peace in the mountains, but he found it was a byproduct of how he directed his attention. As he walks back home, the world is just as loud and chaotic as before, but his internal state has shifted. He now knows how to anchor himself. Most of us carry our own version of that glass, the precision of a craft, the rhythm of a difficult workout, or solving a complex problem. When the mental storm becomes overwhelming, the solution isn't necessarily to try and force the mind to be blank. Often, that only creates more resistance. The path to a quiet mind is a paradox. To empty your mind of anxiety, you must fill it entirely with the present moment.